try that one more time. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:04. This is our second to last DPAC meeting for the year. We are the largest stakeholder at School District 42 Education Table, representing the parents of approximately 15,000 students. And we're all volunteers doing the best we can with what we have. We would like to acknowledge that we are grateful for the work that the DPAC and the PACs take place on the traditional and unceded territories of the Halkmunian-speaking people of the Katzie First Nation and Kwantlen First Nation. And we also recognize all of our First Nation students, Charter Métis, Inuit students, and their families in our school communities, and are committed to the ongoing process of reconciliation. Hope everybody had a chance to have a quick look at the agenda for tonight. And we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. I got Glenwood and a seconder. Can't see. Yeniden. And all those in favor? Launch the poll. Okay. And motion carried. Okay, and can we get a mover to receive the minutes from our last meeting? Which should say April, not March. Typo. Okay, Yeniden mover, seconder. Glenwood, and launch the poll. All right, little change of plans tonight. I am Trish Goth. I'm the vice chair of the SD42 DPAC. Tanya is running late, so I am stepping in her place. And tonight we have a few presentations. We have one from Alyssa's Wish, and we have Jennifer, Christy, and Mariah here. So we'll pass this over to you guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us. My name is Mariah McGill. I'm the Communications and Marketing Coordinator for Community Services. Here with our Director of Operations, Christy Rogie, and Jennifer McKenna is our Child and Youth Advocate, Child Abuse Prevention Worker. I'm so happy you're able to join us tonight and we have this opportunity to tell you about some of our programming and about our Child and Youth Advocacy Center, Alyssa's Wish. But before we talk about Alyssa's Wish, I just want to have the opportunity to share with you a little bit about community services. We're a large nonprofit accredited charity that serves over 17,000 people in our community last year. We have over 29 different programs and services that range from early childhood to senior services, legal services, counseling services, volunteer services. We're this really pretty large organization with kind of a low profile in the community, and it's just a great opportunity for us to be able to share some of the things that we can offer. This year we moved into our new community services building, beautiful new building, and we have one thing to share that's quite exciting. We have 20 residential suites for youth who are at risk of homelessness or homeless, and they've been funded by the government to have a suite. And then in the building also we have the community services supports we can offer, and there's a tenant liaison that serves them. And it's just this really incredible situation that we're very proud of and happy to share. I think there's still more suites available for those youth. So just if you keep it in mind. So today we're talking about our Alyssa's Wish Child and Youth Advocacy Center. I have to get my notes here. So they're located in our building, and it's a wraparound service for children and youth who have suffered abuse or witnessed abuse and their non-offending family members. Since 2013, Alyssa's Wish has served 10,000 people in our community. They're super important help to people who are going through a tough time and need to get support for something that's happened, or learn about how to report, or maybe get support for family counseling. We have a beautiful facility with RCMP interview rooms and a medical examination room and a beautiful relaxing lounge, all sorts of information and supports. In the same area of the building, we have a community-based victim services worker. They're under our legal services program as well. There's so many different kinds of things that you can get help with at community services. I'm really excited to have you guys share that there's some help out there in the community for any manner of things. You can, if you look at our website or you come visit us and take a tour, there's early childhood drop-in, and there's senior services like Party Bus and legal aid, youth and conflict program, youth and family conflict intervention program. We also have the Daddy and Me program, a drop-in program for dads. Family Place is a drop-in center, beautiful facility for children 0 to 5. I could just go on and on with the kinds of things that we have to offer at community services, and I encourage you to go to the website and check us out. And if you see, if you could just pass on, if you know seniors who are requiring assistance and youth that need support, really, you can just refer them to us, and we'll be able to lead them in the right direction. Even if we don't offer the particular service they need, we will be able to help them locate the services they need. I guess if anybody has any questions, or maybe we'll wait till after Jennifer presents a little bit on Alyssa's Wish. Maybe we'll wait for that. Jennifer, did you want to take it over?
Sure. Okay, so I'll just start by maybe starting with our first slide, so you can see our logo and stuff like that.
sorry, Jennifer. I forgot to mention that I was going to play the Alyssa's Wish video as an intro to you. That would give them a better.
That's okay. I'll do it.
Okay, you got it? Okay, great.
Yeah, no worries.
I've got it from here. I'll play it right now.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Oh, hi. I just got a great big screen of my own face, so I had to wave to myself.
Okay, everybody
I'm sorry,
can see that?
who's doing IT here?
Sorry, I am Jennifer. I'm ready for the video
No.
whenever you are.
Oh, you're ready for the video. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Go for it.
Hi,
I
I
can
am
hear the
Alyssa.
video.
I
but
was sexually abused when I was 5 years old.
I don't
When
know
my
how
mother and
anyone
I
else
reported the abuse,
is doing.
Is there anyone who cannot see the video?
It's good for me. I can see it. And the sound is good.
Okay, Jennifer, is that all right?
I can't see it, but I've seen it before, so I'm okay.
Okay.
abuse to the police, we had to bounce around building to building to get the help and resources we needed. My mom and I were sent to many different places, which added so much stress to what was already traumatic.
Not too long ago, Alyssa's journey was typical of the struggles faced by children and youth who had experienced abuse. So in 2012, a group of community service providers decided to work together to create a better system. Their goal was to provide a coordinated approach to services where victims of abuse could tell their story and gain access to support services all in one place. The result was Alyssa's Wish Child and Youth Advocacy Center. Alyssa's Wish uses a multidisciplinary team approach to support children and youth who have experienced abuse or witnessed violence. The team at Alyssa's Wish includes Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Community Services, Community-Based Victim Services, Ridge Meadows RCMP, the Ministry for Children and Family Development, Act 2 Child and Family Services, Cythera Transition House Society, and School District 42, working together to support and serve the children and youth of Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows, and Catesy First Nation.
My name is Tamara Williams, and I'm the Child and Youth Advocate at Alyssa's Wish Child and Youth Advocacy Center. With Alyssa's Wish, we have all of the services that come to the center so that there's only one statement that needs to be taken. It really is re-traumatizing for children to have to tell their story more than once. We provide a wraparound support with our multidisciplinary team to set their families up with supportive services in the community.
Hi, I'm Corporal Christine Day. I'm a police officer with the Serious Crime Unit at the Ridge Meadows RCMP Detachment. One of my jobs is that I'm the police liaison between the Ridge Meadows Detachment and Alyssa's Wish. Police officers who interview children and youth at Alyssa's Wish are specially trained in forensic child interviewing. We want to ensure that we get the best statement possible so that your child only has to tell their story one time. But we don't dress like this when we interview children. We dress in plain clothes. When the police interview children here at Alyssa's Wish, we do everything we possibly can to create a safe environment for children and youth. The police work as part of the multidisciplinary team at Alyssa's Wish to keep you informed on the progress of your investigation.
So when I heard about Alyssa's Wish, I was beyond grateful that this building had opened the doors to a safe place for victims of abuse to come and heal. A place that had everything, instead of frantically trying to find disconnected services by yourself. I felt as if finally something good had come out of all of the trauma that I had endured. A wish that had finally come true.
By coming through Alyssa's Wish, it provides them with the opportunity to tell their story, and it allows for the healing process to begin.
For anyone who has been abused or has witnessed abuse, I want you to know that you are not alone. And it's okay to ask for help. If anything, it's the strongest thing a person can do. You do not deserve it, nor will you ever deserve it.
From its opening in July 2013 to 2020, Alyssa's Wish has provided service to over 600 children and youth, impacting well over 2,400 family members.
In our family, a butterfly symbolizes safety, protection, and love. Someone in our life watching over us. It seemed like a perfect match for such a meaningful center like this one, a sign of hope in times where hope seemed impossible.
Okay, so I'll start. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Jennifer. I'll just do a check and make sure people can actually hear me. Can people hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I work at Alyssa's Wish as a child and youth advocate. Or sorry, I work at Alyssa's Wish Child and Youth Advocacy Center. I'm the child and youth abuse prevention worker. We serve all children of Ridgewood's, anyone who is 18 years of age or younger. So we just showed you our video, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about unique services we offer in our community and some information about our child abuse prevention program. Do you have the slides up? Do people see slides or just me?
Nope, I see slides. We have
They're up? Okay,
privacy,
great.
priority, and consent are on right now. It's the first slide after the video that you sent, but we can change it for whatever you like.
Okay, you can leave it there, and then I'll let you know when. Okay, so I'm happy to take questions if people want to, or if you're able to somehow interrupt me, or I'll save some time at the end. I hope that after you hear my presentation, and as you're listening, you'll be thinking about how our service could provide additional support to either you or the kids at school that you're working with. So very important to community services is that we have a discussion and get informed consent from clients or their guardians before we provide service or share or release any information. There's no requirement for consent to use our space by a police officer or the Ministry of Children and Family to interview a child. Clients or guardians can change their mind anytime about consent. More frequently, the case is that we don't get consent right away, but as the client or the guardian tries to navigate the system themselves, they come back and they give us consent because it can be a very difficult process. In our video, you saw that we're a multidisciplinary team of professionals brought together by a signed information sharing memorandum of understanding. The team includes the RCMP, which includes lead investigators, specialized child interviewers, and general duty officers. Ministry of Children and Family, which provides us with social workers. Act 2 and SITHERA, with specialized counseling services. SD42's Safe and Caring Schools program has youth workers and our vice principals, and community-based victim services. Advocating and organizing for the child is our Alyssa's Wish Child and Youth Advocate, who is a social worker who brings the team on board as needed and as consented to by the youth or the guardian. The advocate works on behalf of the child or youth victim or witness and non-offending support persons to organize a system of support and services that wrap around the victim. I'll have the next slide, please. So without sharing any personal information or real incidents, I'll walk you through a typical process. A report is made to the Ridge Meadows RCMP. This could be through 911 or a non-emergency line. So there's a concern about a child being victimized. The lead investigator will contact our advocate at the center. The advocate will work with the police and the victim or victim's non-offending support persons to schedule an interview at Alyssa's wish. If a social worker needs to be involved due to a child protection issue, then the advocate also schedules with the Ministry of Children and Family Development to have a social worker present in the monitoring room to watch and listen live to the police interview as it takes place, which prevents the child from having to tell the story a second time to another investigator. During the interview, the advocate will have a discussion with the non-offending supportive family member about how they can help navigate the support services that might be needed or wanted by the victim and their family. When a parent or youth consents, the advocate will open a file and bring on board community support services like community services, community-based victim services to provide court updates and court support, CYFIRA or Act 2 for trauma-informed victim-specific counseling, safe and caring schools to ensure school-based safety planning and emotional and educational support. Our advocate can help child victims and witnesses get the most of their current support systems and access new specialized supports. The next slide, please. So that was a typical intake initiated by the Ridge Meadows RCMP, getting a report of either domestic violence, a sexual assault, or a child with unexplained physical injuries. We also get community calls, like a mom or a dad asking some generalized questions, school counselors letting us know that a teen has reported a peer sexual assault, or a grandparent concerned about a disclosure of a historical abuse reported by a grandchild. So as you can see, I've got a sample there. Granddaughter just told us she was sexually abused. What do we do? Next slide, please. And in this slide, we see counselor possibly saying, I'm concerned about my students. I've overheard them talking about a nude photo, but no one will report anything. Where can I get help? So in these sort of cases, our advocate will help a parent, counselor, teen, or youth worker become ready to make a report. Our advocate might bring a teen or family member into our office for a tour and explain what to expect from the police and the courts. Often after these tours, a client or youth will make a phone call to the police and right from our office, and then a police officer will walk down the street and come and take the interview. Next slide, please. This is where you come in as people in our community who have close contact with children, youth, their families, friends, and caregivers. You can call our child and youth advocate, Tamara, anytime to ask questions and get support when you suspect or you know a child is being harmed or witnessing abuse. Our advocate can help guide you through the steps of identifying and reporting incidents of physical or sexual abuse or neglect. Next slide, please. Like so many of us in the caring and helping fields, we would like to prevent the need for survivor services. Right now, my role as the prevention worker is to reach out to as many community members as possible to share and distribute child abuse prevention materials. We're trying to use a variety of different communication channels to reach as many different individuals and groups in our community as possible. We have active Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts, and we've distributed hard copy materials to preschool educators and caregivers. I was actually just before this meeting, I was at Valley Mall with an awareness table, and on the weekend we were at the farmers market. Let me see, where was I? We're trying to reach out to many different community organizations who provide services to children and youth. And I invite you to share with us how you think we can best get the message and tools for child abuse prevention out. Next slide, please. You can reach Tamara or I by phone or email. And I'd love to take any questions about our program and services or suggestions on how we can work together to get as much information as possible out about child abuse prevention as possible. We are interested to know how you see yourself using our services. And again, I'd like to thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. I look forward to working with you in the future. And that's the end of my slides. If you like, I can share my screen and show you our social media pages or some resources.
Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer, share your screen.
Okay. Share screen. Okay. So
Jennifer, you're muted.
Jennifer, when you share your screen, you might need to share sound. Click on the share sound when you click on share.
okay. Sorry, I did. Hopefully, people can hear me now because I'm sharing my screen. I did click share audio, but it didn't seem to work. Sorry about that. Can people hear me now? Here's some of our resources. And, yeah. So I'm done except for questions, if anyone has questions.
Trevor?
Yeah, so I think
Hello.
hi, you can hear me, I'm hoping. The resources I'm really excited about. I know that there'd probably be a lot of interest from some teachers who don't know this side of things, or at least they might want to bone up on the process and all the subtleties. I know that, like, before I was a teacher, I had a lot of experience, youth custody and all of that kind of stuff. And so I was able to learn a lot there. But for a lot of teachers, the day-to-day information about disclosures and all the subtle and nuanced aspects of that, for example, someone says, I got a secret, can you keep a secret? Like those kinds of things about disclosures. So I definitely could see Pro D opportunity where teachers would love to get some help knowing, even just knowing what's out there in this way would be great. So I'd love to reach out in the next week maybe and see what we can do, because I definitely see that previous experiences of teachers may be different than students who grow up in abuse and trauma. I mean, there's always going to be in every group, but you know, it's a process that tends to make it difficult for people with, you know, severe trauma in their background to make it. So the number of people who may want to know more about this would be probably very beneficial. So if possible, I'd love to. I put your phone number down. I'll try and contact you.
Thank you, Trevor.
And just, you know, it's
Are you a teacher?
so
or-
yeah, I'm a union president, but I know that we do organize professional development days, and I definitely think this could be a big benefit for people who it's for some people it's really scary, right? How do you know when? How do you know what? How do you not? You hear that you can get in trouble if you don't disclose properly, if you know, and it's almost like this black hole that people just don't even look or be around, you know, like, oh, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. So I know that having more familiarity, more confidence in knowing what they need to know. It's not something that, well, at least when I was in school for teaching, wasn't something that was targeted area of training to become a teacher. And I think that this is something that would be very, very useful. It may be that it's more so now. I'm old, so maybe it didn't, but but I definitely want to reach out and see if there's some opportunities for Pro-D, and teachers can sign up for that. So
Yeah, that'd be great. Any other questions or comments that you want to?
I don't see any hands raised. Well, thank you so much for coming out and presenting to us tonight. It was amazing information that I'm sure is going to reach a whole lot more people. We did have a question which could probably be answered maybe by Ken, if they are allowed to drop resources off at the school.
I think that you,
I'm happy to, oh, sorry.
yeah, from a point of view of delivering resources, Sherry Scarrett from Safe and Caring Schools has worked directly with Alyssa's Wish. And I would say resources that you want distributed to the school, work with Sherry to get handed out. I think that Sherry, on a regular basis, reviews the opportunities and the services from Alyssa's Wish with all the counseling services, both elementary and secondary, and the child and youth workers.
Perfect. Thank you, Ken. All right. Any more questions for Alyssa's Wish? No? Okay, well, thank you again for coming to present tonight. You are more than welcome to stay, but I'm sure that you would probably like your evening back as well. So thank you so much. And we will move right along into our Hub Cycling presentation. We have Lisa Story and Jenny Wright from Hub Cycling to present on Bike to School Week and a little bit of information on school streets. We'll pass that over to you guys.
Hi there, it's Jenny. I just wanted to start by saying I'm a volunteer with Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Hub Cycling Committee, and I just wanted to thank the DPAC for inviting us. I've given one presentation about a year and a half ago. Some of you may have attended it on active school travel. But today I was asked to talk about Bike to School Week and the School Streets program that is in place in Vancouver at the moment. So I was fortunate enough that I could reach out to our Hub head office in Vancouver, and Lisa Story, who is the event manager for Bike to School Week, is going to present information to you about Bike to School Week, and then we have a video presentation complimentary from the City of Vancouver. It's about a 15-minute video about the School Streets program, and it's very interesting. So we can maybe take some questions after that. So I'll pass it over to you, Lisa.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Jenny. And thank you everyone for having me, allowing me to gate crash your meeting to just share a bit of information about Bike to School Week. Just want to point out my email address, which is on this slide. So if anyone has any questions or comments, concerns that they want to share with me afterwards, please feel free to drop me an email. I've also got that QR code there, which is dotted around the presentation. So if anyone is inclined to sign their school up whilst we're speaking, you can just scan that and it will take us to our registration page. So far, at the moment, we have 6 schools in your school district signed up. And if you go onto our website, you'll be able to find exactly which schools they are listed in our interactive map. So if I could go to the next slide, that'd be great, please. So just a little bit of information for those of you that don't know of us. Hub Cycling is a non-profit based here in Metro Vancouver. And our aim is to get more people cycling more often. Next slide, next slide, thank you. Okay, so I'm here to talk about Bike to School Week. So what is Bike to School Week? When is it happening? This year it's happening May 30th to June 3rd, so that's just at the end of this month. So we do have a little bit of time left. We can probably get some packages out to you by special courier. So yeah, please feel free to register up until the day. Bike to School Week is an annual celebration where we encourage active transportation to and from school. So we have a slight preference, obviously, for bikes, being hub cycling, but we encourage all forms. So whether you want to bike, roll or walk to school, you can take part. Next slide, please. So this is a bit where I have a little bit of an ask. So if you want to get your school signed up and you're not already on that list, we ask you to step up and become your school champion. Bike to School Week can't happen without our school champions. They are the persons with their feet on the ground, managing all the logistics of the event and then reporting back to Hub afterwards with their results. We know how hard you guys work to get this off the ground. So based on previous feedback, we've tried to make the tracking poster a little bit easier than previous years. We've got a new grid system. So all it's going to require from you is to take a picture of that poster and we'll do the maths afterwards and work out how many trips you had over the week. And to just to say our thanks, give our appreciation. There's lots of prizes to those of you that fill out your post-show reports. Some of which include a day pass to the Scandinavia Spa in Whistler. Next slide, please. So how does it work? I'm going to go through it very, very briefly with you to give you some ideas. But in general, Hub provides the resources. So that includes the tracking posters, stickers and prizes to encourage participation. And our school champions help promote the event to students and plan the celebrations and activities. So the first step in the process is to gather support and promote. So that looks like talking to your students, talking to your parents. If your school has a sustainability team or a bike club, getting them involved, adding the event to your school calendar, and in general, just making a bit of a buzz and getting people excited about it. During the week, we ask you to plan some events if you have the capacity. And so these are just some examples of previous events that we've had. Bikers breakfasts, we've had decorating parades. We also have lots of safety talks, lesson plans and short videos, anything from 30 seconds up to 5 minutes. If you wanted to get your students prepared and ready for that ride to and from school, we have the resources for that too. Next slide, please. The third step is to track your trips. So let us know how many trips happened. We have 2 stages of that. We ask for a first trip sticker and then also a sticker for your continued trips throughout the week. The way that we do this is we have this giant poster that can be put up in your school on display wherever you sort of see fit. Students will arrive by bike or by foot and get given their sticker, which they can place on the poster. We understand for secondary schools that might seem a little bit childish and they might not be totally up for that. So we encourage our high school students to register for Go By Bike Week, and they can use our interactive online app. And also there's a fun feature on that where you can create teams. So we encourage the staff to do that as well. And then they create a little bit of friendly competition with a staff versus students team to see who can get the most smiles that week. And our final step is to report back. For us at Hub, this is the most important step of the process. As I mentioned, we are a non-profit. We are able to put on events like this because we have sponsorships, we have grants, and we have government backing and funding. But in order to receive that continued support, we need to provide them with data. So every time you report back after your event, it helps ensure that the event can carry on for years to come. Of course, we don't just need the boring stats. We want to see some of the fun that happens. So please share your celebrations online using the hashtag #BikeToSchool, and you can find our social media tags there to share them wherever you guys are on. Next slide, please. So don't just take my word for it. Here's a few quotes from last year's participants, just really highlighting why they love taking part in Bike to School Week. The biggest theme of last year was really about reconnection. It's been a tough 2 years for most of us, but it's been especially a tough couple of years for students and for teachers and schools. So the Bike to School Week last year really enabled to reconnect with their communities, reconnect with their students, and create safe outdoor sort of school spirited events. And of course, something that we love to hear after Bike to School Week is that there was an increased shift towards active transportation each year. Next slide, please. So here we go, just a little bit of a dumping ground of some of our resources. There's the link there to the Go By Bike Week app, which we encourage for high school students and for our teaching staff. We've also got a Bike to School Week guide, which will provide all of the information I've just shared with you, just 100 times more, including those lesson plans on safety tips. And we also have a media kit there. So if you want some social media posts to post on your channels, then there's some ready made up for you. Next slide, please. That's just it. I'm going to just recommend that if you haven't signed up, please do sign up. There's a QR code there, but you can also just go to our website, hubcycling.com.ca. Sorry. Next up, I'm going to show you a little bit of video. We had a hub webinar at the in April, where City of Vancouver actually shared sort of a case study on their school streets program, and we're hoping that it will provide a little bit of inspiration for you guys. So if you could click on that video, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, just one sec while I find did you want me to start it at 5:15? Is that right?
Yes, please.
Give me one sec.
Thanks, Calvier, and hi, everybody. My name is Alicia Burak, and I'm a school active travel planner with the City of Vancouver. Today, I'll be introducing you to our School Streets program and sharing a little bit more about our pilot program that happened last spring and our plans for the future of the program ahead. So a school street is a car-free block next to a school that's open to walking, biking, and rolling during drop-off and pickup. During this time, no motor vehicles are permitted to enter or exit the block while the school street is happening, except in case of an emergency. However, vehicles can remain parked. So school streets have been around since the 1990s. They originated in Italy, and since then they've been introduced in cities around the world. They've been known to create safer environment around school zones. They reduce congestion and improve air quality. They tend to encourage active travel and support physical distancing needs in the time of COVID. Safety around schools is a top priority, and reducing emissions is also pivotal to meeting the City of Vancouver's Climate Emergency Action Plan goals. So we have the ambitious target that 2/3 of all trips be taken by sustainable modes and transportation in 2030. By 2030. And within this, our council directed us to create a transportation demand action plan. This plan really focuses on the encouragement and promotions aspects to supporting active travel, recognizing that infrastructure improvements are key, but coupling them with encouragement and other TDM programs can really improve the use of that new infrastructure. Implementing school streets is just one of 75 actions in our TDM action plan. But I think what's really great is that this program has been embedded in our policy. So last spring, we wanted to give school streets a try, and it's the first school streets in all of BC. We partnered with the Vancouver School Board and 3 local elementary schools to try school streets for a period of 4 weeks. During this time, one block adjacent to the school was closed to motor vehicle traffic for a period of 30 to 45 minutes. We used traffic horse barriers to close the street, and volunteers were the folks who put these barriers out and monitored the closure to ensure safety. All of the volunteer coordination and outreach was led by the schools, and the city led the community engagement, traffic management, creating signage, all of the logistics. We led volunteer training and all aspects of evaluation and monitoring. We also provided schools with a $500 mini grant to further encourage active travel. So schools use this money to do like a bike day or a celebration event. Here's an example of one of our school streets. So this is Hastings Elementary. And here you can see that Franklin Street was closed for the school street. But for families that had to drive, they could still access the school via Slocan or Penticton Street. And we were really careful when selecting the streets to close for school streets. So to minimize impacts on residents, we chose streets without driveways and where residents had alternative access points to their homes. So in many cities, exceptions are made for residents on the block of the school street. However, because these homes on Franklin had access via a back alley, we were able to do a full motor vehicle closure on the street. And this made the space more comfortable for kids. Where necessary, we designated drop-off areas for parents or students with disabilities or accessibility concerns in advance of the pilot. During the program, we received no feedback from folks with accessibility concerns specifically. Here's an example, or a visual to show you what we use to close the street. So in the top left corner, you can see that we use our typical traffic barriers. One of the barriers had a road closed sign affixed to it, and this was the regulatory sign required for the closure. And then we also included a school street sign to show that the program was taking place. We put up vinyl banners in front of the schools on the fence a couple of weeks beforehand to notify folks that this was happening, as well as numerous kind of information signs you can see on the right there, put at pedestrian height for folks walking in the neighborhood. I thought it might be helpful to share a sample timeline for implementing a school street and some of the pieces that go into it. So this is actually my timeline that I'm using for this spring. So you can see that way back in the fall is when I defined the street closure method. So how are you actually enforcing the closure? Are there permits required? Kind of figuring those pieces out first. And then in January and February, the shift focused to school selection. So for this year, we actually did an expression of interest form for schools that clearly laid out what their roles and responsibilities would be alongside the cities. And schools also assemble a school streets committee. So this typically includes a principal or vice principal, as well as a volunteer coordinator who tends to be a parent at the school, and often other members of the PAC executive or parents who want to support the program. In March and April, the focus shifts to community engagement and notification, traffic management plans, working on signage. And then through April and May, we're really focusing on outreaching for volunteers, coordinating those volunteers and training them, as well as all of the logistics that go into this, dropping off barriers and signs on site. In May, the school streets pilot launches, and then in June and July, we focus on monitoring and reporting. I would really recommend for anyone thinking about trying school streets for the first time that you give yourself at least 6 months. In this case, for this spring, our schools were confirmed 4 months prior to launch, and this seems to be about enough time considering it's our second time around. In terms of the cost, so we estimate that it costed about $6,000 per school to run this for our pilot year, as well as one full-time staff member at 70% of the time. Some of the notable expenses or larger expenses include signage and equipment. So this is all of the signage created. Equipment can include banners, sandwich boards, cables, locks, sandbags, as well as the staff time for our traffic operations crews to actually go and install or deliver those items. And the second large expense was traffic counts. So we did one-day traffic counts before and during the program. And these were done by traffic assistants who monitored the 4 streets surrounding the school. So we actually had quite a few people out there monitoring impact, and that was a costly expense. And then you can see some of the other expenses below. In terms of evaluating the impact, we did this in 3 main ways. We had parent and staff surveys that were sent out by school administrators the final week of the program. We also conducted traffic counts, and then residents were invited to provide feedback via an email address or phone number. And I'll just note that we received about 40 responses when we launched this at 3 schools, 20 or so in favor of the program, 20 with some concerns. So that's, I think, a reasonable number, and tells us that we did a pretty good job of notifying people in advance. So what did we see? Well, we were happy to see that the school street did in fact encourage active travel. So 1 in 3 families reported walking more, 1 in 4 families reported cycling more, and 1 in 5 families reported driving to 5 more often. We also saw a decrease in parents reporting driving to school. And we saw over 200 families give walking, biking, or rolling a try for the first time, which is really exciting because this program seemed to give them the extra nudge to give that a try. We asked parents about their support for the program, and they said that their support was stronger after actually witnessing what it was, which is maybe not too surprising given that this was a relatively new concept to a lot of families. Actually, 76% of families said that they wanted the program to continue at their school. So really strong support from families. And then we noticed a reduction in vehicles on all streets surrounding the school in those traffic counts that we did. So sometimes people worry that by closing one block, you're just moving the traffic problem to other streets, but we really did see traffic evaporate when doing our school streets. I'll share with you now a short video that we put together demonstrating the pilot.
A school street is a car-free block open to walking, cycling, and rolling beside a school during pickup and drop-off times. In Vancouver, this was for a period of 30 to 45 minutes in the morning or afternoon. We were really excited to partner with 3 local elementary schools in order to pilot school streets and see if they could help to improve safety, reduce carbon pollution, and encourage healthier and active transportation.
What this street looked like was just a parade of cars and parents dropping off, and it did create a lot of anxiety amongst parents, safety concerns, and kids walking through cars that were stopped. And of course, kids are small, so they really have a low profile. A lot of parents were concerned.
Every day around 8:40, they close the street so kids can walk past the street or bike to go to school.
Well, in the morning, you usually have kids around here. They are drawing, they are playing. This morning we had bike day. And afternoon, usually you can see parents that are standing all around the street because now they have space.
Yeah, like it's been amazing since you can do anything on the street. And I think more people have biked because we're allowed to bike around on the streets. You can bike on the road and you don't even have to be careful for cars anymore.
Well, the main reason would be safety for the children and the parents are commuting to and from school. But an alternative reason that it's good for the environment when we reduce traffic around the school. And I think an added benefit that some people don't know about is that I've been getting reports that children are actually waking up earlier and leaving their house earlier just so they can get to school and experience the street, which makes them, of course, be at school on time.
We have noticed it. Certainly we've noticed there have been fewer cars, you know, compared with the number we had normally on Comox. We know the weather is good, but definitely we've seen fewer cars.
I think the project has been very successful and very positive. And if we had a choice, I would like to see it continue at our school and other schools.
Yeah, we are hoping you will come back next year.
Yes, I would like to see more of this, more often, and faster.
We would love School Streets to continue. It's changed how it feels to pick up and drop off kids. It feels smoother, safer, less frustrating. We love it.
I want it to continue because I don't have to worry about the cars and I get to like draw chalk on this road.
So hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense and a feel for what the school streets were like. And I'll just end today by sharing what our plans for school streets for 2022 are. So since September, one of our pilot schools, Lord Roberts Elementary, has actually been running their school street every day for the whole school year. The school has an incredible, some incredible champions and a lot of momentum. They're really motivated to see this program continue, and I think they're motivated by the sense of safety that it's created at their school, so that's really inspiring. In addition, 4 schools will be launching this May for another month. One of them is a returning school and 3 of them are new schools. And after some deliberation around what's the best way to close the street, we've decided to continue with the volunteer run model for this year, just based on the tools available to us in the city. Some new things that we're bringing forward this year. One thing is that we've assembled a school streets working group. So I meet monthly with all of the participating schools, and this has been a really good way for me to share information out, but also to foster collaboration between the schools. We're also collaborating with the Society for Children and Youth, who will be delivering play streets on some of our school streets one afternoon a week at each school. So that's going to be a really fun activation. And then we've been really intentional about linking this and overlapping it with other active travel encouragement programs. So the final week of our school streets coincides with Bike to School Week this year, and the city's also funded active travel education by hub cycling at the participating schools. Lastly, you might have noticed from the pilot that we didn't capture student feedback. So this year we'll be doing some pop-up engagements on site to get feedback from students about what they think about the program. And I have some additional resources that Kathy will share out with everyone who's on the call today. These were things that were really helpful for me when putting together this program plan. And so I hope that they'll be useful to anybody who's considering running a school street in your community. And with that, I'll leave my email address up. Please feel free to reach out anytime with questions. And I'll pass it off to Faye at Dash for the next presentation.
Lovely. Yeah, so obviously that was a pre-recording. So if you have any questions for City of Vancouver, you can direct them to me and I can pass you along. And same with those resources that were listed at the end of that video. If anyone would like them, please feel free to reach out to me on my email address, which was on my first slide, and I can shoot them over to you as well. If anyone has any questions about Bike to School Week, I'd love to help and answer them. Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Can I just add something here? So just want to let everybody know that, you know, sometimes people go away from these type of presentations and they start thinking about it and they want to take action. So just to let you know that our Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows Hub Committee is very committed to advocating for and providing resources and information to any schools that are interested or want us to be involved. We have opportunity to be even involved in helping with Bike to School Week or other things. I know Craig wouldn't mind, but we are going to be assisting with a bike parade at Yenadin School. So we're really keen to be involved and be be available if it's just information and resources you need, or we advocate, for and with MLAs, with the local government, with TransLink. So any concerns or suggestions that you would like us to bring forward, we're always happy to do that. So we have a local hub website, and we have a brand new website actually, which has got a lot of information about local cycling on it that you and your families might want to take advantage of. It's rmcyclist.info, and I can pass that on to I think I have passed it on to the DPAC group, but I can pass it on again. I'll just put it in the chat maybe. And myself personally, I'll put my email in there too. So if people have questions or they just want some information about cycling and in Maple Ridge, please reach out to us.
Thanks for inviting me, Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out. And again, this presentation piece is worked into our PowerPoint, so it will go out to everyone at the end of the night. Were there any questions for Jenny or Lisa? No? Okay. Thank you so much, guys. You're welcome to stay, but we understand if you want to leave.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
Bye.
we'll move right along into our superintendent's report, and we have Assistant Superintendent Ken Colbert here tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to be part of tonight's presentation. I'm not going to feel intimidated that the first two presentations had videos and slides. Mine's a little more grassroots. Information that I can share in general before I'm going to talk about a summer school program. But before I slide into the summer school program, or I can start with summer school and then at the end I can add some information. So I will go right to the summer school. I think that you guys might have conveniently slipped some information. Perfect. So the summer school program, we traditionally have summer school in our district, and we are following along with that pattern of offering summer school programs. We've done some differences this year. The registration for summer school has been facilitated through our parent portal. For all of our programs, we have a total of 5 different programs that we offer for summer school. The first program that I'll talk to you about is our elementary program, and that's what's in front of you there, the elementary program. And there's 2 streams at elementary. There's an English program and a French program. These programs involve 40 hours of instructional time. So the first day of school is on July 5th, and then the last day of school is July 21st. And they are typically a morning session, 9 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. What I will let you know is from a registration point of view on the portal, before I slide into the other ones, I'll just give general registration information. The first wave of registration opened in April and closed May 10th. And in that so we had a significant number of families register in that time period. But if you as a family are still interested in any one of these summer school programs, we have opened a second registration period. It is referred to as the wait list period, but our goal is to accommodate as many possible students in summer school as we can. We needed to have a framework for how we were structuring this organization. If I could give you an idea, opening a summer school program is like doing a pop-up business. So we are requiring supports from our IT and our learning resources team and all of the individual elementary and secondary schools so that we can do cross enroll with all these students, because this summer school program is a district-based program versus a homeschool program. If you can go to the next slide, I'll talk about the next program. The grade 7 to 8 transition ADST program is what we refer to that. That's for grade 7 students moving into grade 8 for September. This is a great opportunity to get exposure to an ADST level course at the high school level, a grade 8 level course. The initial course we offered a computer programming, a metalwork, and a woodwork program. So there's sort of 3 streams for people. Fantastic registration in the first wave. And so those programs are full. Our waitlist program for the ADST will be a drama program. So we've actually come up with another program because we recognized that we were overprescribed in ADST, and we wanted to make sure we could offer something to all of our students. The ADST program similarly is 40 hours, similar to the elementary program. It runs 9 a.m. to 12:20, July 5th to July 21st. And the numbers for the elementary, I didn't share that. We had over 500 students registered in that first period for the elementary program for the combined French immersion and the English. And the French immersion program at elementary, that's a question that sometimes parents ask about. That is an available program for our French immersion students. The French immersion summer school program is designed to complement and augment the work that's being done in the French immersion classrooms already with the students. So there's sort of a continuity of service there for students. So although there are some families that would like to, that are not in French immersion, take French immersion summer school, it isn't a fit for those students. So that's why we have the English summer school program. The third program I'll talk to you about is our grade 8 and 9 literacy and numeracy skill building. This is sometimes referred to as our remedial program as well. This is for students that are in grade 8 and 9 and are looking to strengthen their abilities, their foundation skills around literacy and numeracy. And this is an 80-hour course. It is hosted in Thomas Haney Secondary. And this will start on July 5th and go to July 26th. And it is starts at 8 a.m. and goes to 1:30 p.m., allowing for a lunch break in there. We, again, really impressed with the number of people that have registered for this already. We're looking at, I think we have up to 4 sections of students already for that program. And there is a wait list available for those people still interested that haven't registered. And the last program I'll talk to you about the second last program I'll talk to you about is the grade 10 to 12 academic courses. And those are full courses that students take. Again, it's an 80-hour session. It's hosted at Thomas Haney. We have 25 different secondary school courses that we're offering. The majority of them are in the field of English, English, science, math. And at the grade 10, 11, and 12 level, we have we had close to 500 students register in the initial registration period for one of those 25 courses. And in the waitlist period, actually, this is the most demanding waitlist registration that's happening right now. The waitlist registration is open now. It stays open until June 13th. We're hopeful that we'll get as many people that are interested as early as possible so that we can do assignments and placements in classes as early as possible. The sites for the elementary program, I forgot, I didn't mention that. It's Ladyview Elementary is the site for both the French immersion and the English program at the elementary program. And then the grade 7-8 transition, the literacy numeracy building, and the grade 10 to 12 academics will be hosted at Thomas Haney. Our final program that we're offering, this is the 4th year that we're offering it. It's not on a slide at all, but I will talk to you about it, is we offer a CATESI, we offer a summer school program on the CATESI Reserve. It's for students with ancestry. And it is the 4th year that we've offered that. Last year was the first year it included both elementary and secondary students. We're in the process of doing that registration for that program, and our goal is to have, again, the elementary and secondary programs. Very similar idea. The elementary program is a 40-hour service. The secondary program is an 80-hour service. They focus on literacy, and there is cultural enhancement, and our Aboriginal Education Department are really fortunate to bring in a language expert or specialist to help with the development and advancement of students' knowledge and ability to speak the Halkometum language. And Kirsten Ertl-Sur, the principal for our Aboriginal Education Program, is very passionate about the work that they do with that program, and really excited that we're actually offering it for a 4th year. The process for Hiring is, we are in the process that we've posted our jobs to 4 teaching positions in the program. The postings have closed, and the admin team responsible for summer school program are in the interviewing process right now. We have Tricia McQuaig, who's the principal at Riverside Center. So she oversees summer school along with her vice principal, Diane Wadden. And in addition to that, there are 2 administrators that have been hired for temporary summer school positions. Jennifer Beveridge is going to be the administrator for the elementary program at Ladyview, and Andrea Clayton will be the administrator at the Thomas Haney site for us. And they are also working now in the capacity of the hiring process and creating the structures in the organization. Families will hear from the summer school team on their assignments, whether they've been enrolled or not, by mid-June. There'll be communication, and then closer to the start of the summer school program, families will get a more detailed communication about classroom assignments or course assignments. And I think, I don't know if there's anything else. Are there any questions for me regarding summer school? Oh, I'm looking in the chat. I'm not seeing anything in the chat column.
No, and I don't see any hands raised either.
Okay. Is there time for me to just do sort of some general information to share?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity, a captive audience. So in my portfolio, there's a number of things that I'd like to reflect on with you. Is the grade 8 registration. I did do a presentation earlier in the year about grade 8 registration, and since then the registration closed. Grade 8s have been assigned, or grade 7s going into grade 8 assignments happen, and then we're now in what's referred to as the transfer phase for secondary schools, which includes new students going into grade 8, but also students that are currently in secondary schools and looking to go for a different placement for next year. We meet on a regular basis. Well, by we, I mean the secondary principals, and we review space and availability, and the principals are incredibly conscientious about trying to meet the needs of what families are looking for. Our goal is that we maximize the learning, positive learning experience for students and graduation. Like that's kind of our goal. And we figure the one thing that achieves that is if you make sure you have a happy learner, then a happy learner coming into your building is more likely to be engaged, maximize their learning experience, and achieve graduation. So we would like to accommodate as many of the transfer requests as we possibly can. Now I'm taking this opportunity to talk to you about that now because it's a strength about our district. We are growing. We've had more enrollment this year than we had in previous years, and that's the direction we seem to be going in the last couple of years and what's been projected for us in the next few years. Because of that, we are very restricted on space at our secondary schools. So our capacity to honor transfer requests has been reduced this year at all grade levels, not just for the new incoming grade 8s, but at all grade levels. But we are paying attention to it. We just had a meeting this week that we reviewed all grade level transfer requests. The schools are currently building their timetables for next year and creating the models, and then it's referred to as tumbling. So trying to place students in courses and meeting the composition requirements and instructional structures that are outlined for us to design, maximize ideal learning spaces for students. Once we are further along with our timetable builds and we are actually able to look at placements of students, there may be some more flexibility around transfer requests. And so that's part of the transfer phase 3, where we do a review by the end of August. We do a comprehensive review again on placements. So there are a number of families who have put a transfer request in and they haven't yet been successful. all transfer requests remain active until the school year begins, unless a family withdraws their transfer request. Okay, I appreciate you allowing me to do that public service announcement about transfers. Now I'll throw it out. I don't know if other things that are in my portfolio, if people have any questions, is it secondary schools? So I don't know if there's any questions specific to secondary schools beyond transfers or registrations, or beyond the summer school program.
Any questions for Ken? I don't see any in the chat, no hands raised. Thank you so much, Ken, for your presentation. That was great information about summer school.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, so moving right along, we've got our trustees report, and we have two trustees on the call tonight, but Kim Dumore will be presenting.
Hello, all. I'd like to cheers you with my DPAC Lifetime Achievement Award right here. I always like to bring it to these meetings because it just makes sense. So thank you so much for having me. I know I've said before, this feels like home, starting in kindergarten with my daughter, who just survived turning 19 last weekend, or a couple weeks ago. So as a mom, whoo, anyhow, quite a few things, just a quick update. I'll try to be super fast because I know we're getting late in the evening, and Chris has created this slide of kind of the highlights for the board meeting last night. And like the DPAC meeting, the board meetings are available for review after. So you're welcome to hop on and take a look at the debates that happened for the evening and kind of catch up on presentations. There's some really great things that are presented to the board at our board meetings. And if you're up and you want to watch that, it's sometimes super interesting. Last night we had a presentation on our environmental sustainability report, which was, it's really cool to see how we're trying to reduce greenhouse gases by way of upgrading items through our capital project to reduce the emissions that we're producing through the school district, and ultimately saving funds at the end of the day. So that was a presentation we had last night, as well as the early years presentation, and the very energetic Melanie Scarcella presented to us last night. She loves her job. I'm saying that, those are my words. But if you don't know, she used to be the music teacher at Ladyview, the music teacher at MRSS. She's moved on to this early years portfolio, and she's just kind of taken it by storm and loving every minute of it. Created some new programming supporting our youngsters coming into kindergarten to support them in a really strong way, moving into their kindergarten years and setting them up for success in their educational journey. I would also say high five to GSS for achieving their International Baccalaureate full accreditation. So 26 schools in Canada have this accreditation, but only 3 in British Columbia. So we're one of 3 to have this accreditation in British Columbia. So it's a pretty amazing coup for our school district, and they're very excited about it over there. Another thing I thought was super great from Superintendent Dillon's report last night was $57,000 was raised by the schools for Terry Fox this year. So that's huge. So high five to all of the schools that participated in the Terry Fox fundraising initiatives. Trustees are excited to be attending the grads this year in person. And if you have a graduate this year, I'm so excited for you because you get to do it up large with them. And as a mom who unfortunately had a grad through COVID, I'm so excited for everyone who gets to graduate with their children, because that's what we've been waiting for. We also we approved the amended calendar for 22-23 last night. And a couple other things. We approved a letter to support the food bank for all the food security initiatives that they provide in the school district. keeping in mind that, of course, trustees would like to see a universal meal program brought into our school district and not have to rely so heavily on the food bank. But we are advocating for that through the BCSTA and have done so at multiple AGMs. So we're crossing our fingers that that a universal meal program is in our future. We will keep fighting the fight on that. Super excited to have partnered with the DPAC and School District 42 on Let's Talk About Substance Use, where we brought in Guy Felicella to talk about his story of strength, his journey through substance disorder, and his quest through harm, advocating for harm reduction, and his stories of compassion to kind of get him to where he is today. So if you haven't had a chance to Google Guy Felicella, he did come into all the high schools over the week prior to the Let's Talk About Substance event, and hopefully some of your kids came home and talked about it, and it was a positive experience for them. And then I would just add two other quick little notes. I am the trustee representative on the youth planning table, and through that we have the U Plan, which is the subcommittee of the youth planning table. We're always looking for young people to join our initiatives. 12 to 24 is the age range, and currently we're working on a project for Pride in the downtown core for the month of June leading up to Pride in the Park. But we have done the grad walk and the Christmas light tour and a variety of different things that fall under the youth strategy. So if you have young people who want to volunteer some time and do some cool projects in the community, they can connect with U-Plan through social media. And then I also, just a personal note, I am a proud member of the community services team. I work at Foundry, and thanks to Mariah for bringing Alicia's Wish today. I had the greatest pleasure of working McHappy Day last week. And if you've never worked in a drive-through, you should probably work in a drive-through because it's not an easy job. And thanks to all the parents who brought their kids through for the professional development day. Trish from DPAC came and got her family some breakfast and raised $6,000 for the Foundry. I think it was 6,000. So thanks everyone.
All right, any questions for Kim? No? Seeing none, thank you, Kim, for your update. And we will go on to the MRTA. We have Trevor Takasaki.
I don't have a lot to update. Just wanted to share that we had a really good Pro-D convention where we put a lot of emphasis. I know that in our district, we're putting a lot more emphasis on anti-racism and connecting more with the Katzie and the Indigenous community through ABED education. And so we had a really good convention with presenter Kevin Lamoureux, and trying to really shine light on instances of racism and just trying to educate people more about the historic and transitioning. There's a lot of changes that are happening in schools right now. We're seeing for many of you, it may be of interest that there's new criteria coming down for students who will graduate needing to have First Nations course before they graduate in a couple of years. So that's something that we're trying to make the transition on. The presenter was excellent. A lot of great, thoughtful, reassuring things he had to say. I got to learn a bit just through the whole process of how we interact with even our Katzie First Nations here. So it was a good day. And other than that, yeah, it's been busy. We just have the transition time, getting on ready, planning for the next year. So teachers are figuring out where they're going to be. And hopefully that is a smooth transition where your favorite teacher at the school gets to stay there and teach there and stay part of the community. So yeah, not a lot to update. Thanks.
Thanks, Trevor. Any questions for Trevor before we move on? Seeing none, we will move on to QP 703, and we've got Susan Bonney here tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the invite. So I have two things I'd like to share. Oh, am I muted? It says unmute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so two things that I'd like to share with you. One is there's a critical shortage of lunch hour supervisors, which brings a safety concern across the whole district. It's been brought to our attention that people have applied, however, they haven't gotten to the interview process. We're not sure exactly why. The second item I want to bring to your attention is if there's a skeletal crew in maintenance, which is also a huge safety concern, as it results in nobody checking for needles, human feces, condoms, as well as homeless people congregating in the mornings at Maple Ridge Senior Secondary. So that's all I have. I mean, that's a lot, but short and sweet.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Any questions for Shannon before we move on? I don't think I saw anyone here from the Maple Ridge Principals and Vice Principals Association. We will move on to Paulina for the Treasurer's Report.
Looks like I got here just in time.
Yes, you did.
Okay, and we will be signing on to the new Van City account. Chris and I will be going tomorrow, and then some people are going next week as well. So basically right now our accounts haven't moved. So our gaming account is at $6,468.70. And our general account is at $5,804.43. Total of $12,273.13 as of May 19th. Thank you.
Great, perfect. Thank you, Paulina. And moving on to old business, we have the BCC PAC conference in AGM, which was attended by Craig Towers. So I will pass it over to him to give an update on that.
Thank you, Trish. So first I want to start by congratulating Chris as getting nominated and elected for the BCC PAC president. Congratulations. So I joined the conference and the AGM, and both were very interesting. There was tons of great guest speakers, and I actually was only able to join in one of the many videos, or sorry, not videos, but conferences that were put on by the guest speakers for the afternoon portion, because you can only sign up for one. But they are available, and I think you can click onto this slide to get the links to watch the videos yourself. But there is a few there to watch and very interesting. And then the general BCC PAC annual general meeting booklet is available on the second link. And then they are still have some openings for spots on the board. So if you're interested, deadline for nominations is May 23rd for vice president first, second, and secretary and director.
Okay, thank you, Craig. And moving on to new business, we do have our, I'm just looking at my other screen here. We do have our SD42 DPAC, AGM and elections coming up on June 16th. All positions will be up for election: chair, vice treasurer, reporting secretary, communications officer, director, associate to the BCC PAC, and 3 members at large. All of the nominations can be sent to our chair of our nominations committee, which is Aaron Goodman from the Wannock Elementary School, and his email is on the slide. And then we'll just quickly move through the next couple of slides here to show positions and the election process. And then on June 16th, we were hoping to do our Longtime Parent Volunteer Achievement Award. We were hoping to do this in person, but we did want to see what people's thoughts were on that while we had everyone on the call. Chris, did we have a poll for that?
I can do one up quickly.
Okay. So I believe we did reach out to one of the culinary schools. Unfortunately, they will not be able to host us this year. So we will be taking suggestions on what everybody would like to see as far as an in-person event, or if everyone would prefer to do it virtual, suggestions on how we would like to do that as well. And Chris, you can launch the poll whenever you have it ready.
It'd just be one more sec. If anybody wants to have any discussion on that, then we can certainly have that.
Anybody have any thoughts they would like to share? Kim?
I know I don't get a vote, but well, we have 3 culinary programs, but La Pepita is a taco restaurant in the downtown core that does an amazing taco bar for very reasonable. So if you had a space, you could bring in the food. It wouldn't cost a lot. It's just a suggestion. Okay. And always tell them less people than you really have, because it's way too much food.
And I've got the poll ready. It's an informal poll, so it's not technically a motion. It's just sort of gauge how people feel. So I think everyone can participate in this. We just want to see how people feel about, because our meetings are open to everyone, even though the DPAC reps are the only ones who actually vote at the AGM. But our meetings are open to everyone, so I think we'd like to get everyone's input on that. The poll is set to be anonymous, so you can speak your mind without having to be without identifying who you are or how you feel, and it's anonymous to everyone. So I will launch it now. I think we just have 4 more to answer again. Oh no, because 2 can't. So 2 more to answer. All right, well, I'll just pause it here and then share it. So not overwhelming, which is totally fine. We want people to feel comfortable.
Absolutely. Sorry, my dog's going ballistic in the background. Okay, so we're going to move on to PAC voice sharing and questions. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share? Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Andre.
Sorry, guys. This question actually is for Kim. Can you guys hear me okay? It really just has to do with, what was the name of that restaurant that you just brought up? That sounded really good.
It is really good. I have no shares in the company. It's called Le Pepita. It's called Le Pepita, and they're on the same street that the Royal Bank is on in the downtown core. So that's my PSA. They're really good.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything to share? Questions? Nothing? Okay.
There's a question there in the chat about who to connect with for grants on playground equipment.
Okay. We had talked earlier with Harry about this in our exec meeting this afternoon. Ken, is that something that you can answer?
I apologize. I'm not going to be able to give you an informed answer to that. I would have to defer to Harry and our facilities department around that.
Okay, Glenwood, we will get you in touch with Harry to answer your questions regarding the grants for playgrounds.
Yeah, I can take that back for sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I just apologize. I'm not able to give you an answer on that. I will. So since I'm unmuted now, I see there was a comment in there about the elementary dismissal time returning to 2:20 for next year because of the calendar. The secondary schools will remain with the 2:45 dismissal. And the intention of keeping the 2:45 dismissal is to allow an extra 5 minutes in the lunch block for secondary students. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ken. Anything else? No. Okay. Can we get a motion to adjourn? Okay, Yeniden, and seconded by Glenwood. All in favor?
It's the Muppet Show!
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
And motion carried. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I know tonight's meeting was a little bit longer than normal. Thanks for all your patience.
I guess we'll never know. It's like a kind of torture to have to watch the show.
I don't want to leave till the song's over.
Chris, can you kill the YouTube?
It's time to get things started on the most sensational.
Sorry, what's that, Trish?
Can you stop the YouTube and the recording?
Not until I stop dancing.